Global Gridlock News Report. Russia's growing drone operations in Ukraine and Africa raise global concerns. In a concerning development for international stability, Russia has escalated its drone warfare capabilities both in Ukraine and on a global scale, extending its reach to Africa. Before we proceed, please like, comment, and subscribe to help us with the YouTube algorithm. According to recent reports, the Kremlin has been ramping up the production of military drones, which have been deployed not only in Ukraine, but also across Africa. The expansion of these operations has raised alarms among Western nations and African governments, particularly as the Kremlin deepens its involvement in regions where tensions are already at a breaking point. The latest revelations show that Russia has invested heavily in a new factory specifically for drone production in Ukraine, marking a significant shift in how the war is being waged. This factory, strategically located in occupied Ukrainian territory, represents a bold move by the Kremlin to solidify its military presence and increase its control over key war zones. Drones have become a critical element in Russia's military strategy, providing a low-cost, effective way to carry out surveillance, strikes, and logistical support on the battlefield. The use of drones has transformed modern warfare, allowing countries like Russia to engage in asymmetrical warfare and maintain pressure on their adversaries without committing large ground forces. In Ukraine, these unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, have been instrumental in gathering intelligence, launching precision strikes on Ukrainian infrastructure, and disrupting Ukrainian counteroffensive operations. Russia's drone operations are not limited to conventional warfare, but are part of a broader strategic initiative aimed at maintaining dominance in regions of interest. Reports from intelligence sources have also confirmed that Moscow is exporting this drone technology to several African nations as part of its geopolitical strategy to gain influence and secure resource partnerships. Drones manufactured in the new Ukrainian plant are reportedly being shipped to African allies, some of which are engaged in their own civil conflicts or are under authoritarian regimes. This move has been met with condemnation from various African governments, particularly those who are battling insurgencies and see the introduction of foreign-made military drones as a destabilizing force. Western analysts view Russia's growing drone operations as a direct challenge to NATO's influence, not only in Europe, but also in Africa, where the West has historically maintained a strong presence. The deployment of Russian-made drones in conflict zones across Africa further complicates efforts by Western nations to maintain peace and stability in regions that are already dealing with internal strife, economic instability, and terrorism. Countries like Mali and the Central African Republic, where Russia has established military ties, are believed to be receiving these drones to bolster their capabilities against rebel groups. In response to these developments, the United States and its European allies have called for stricter sanctions on Russian military exports, particularly in the realm of drone technology. However, enforcing such measures has proven difficult, given the growing number of private military companies and intermediaries that Moscow has employed to sidestep international scrutiny. Sanctions alone may not be enough to curb Russia's drone operations, as the country continues to find ways to innovate and expand its military-industrial base despite mounting economic pressure. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, the intensified use of drones has left the local population in a state of constant fear. Civilian infrastructure, including power plants and water facilities, has increasingly become a target for Russian drone strikes, resulting in widespread destruction and hardship. Ukrainian forces are working tirelessly to counter these threats, but with the rapid pace of Russian drone production, keeping up with the new technology poses a significant challenge. The war has evolved into a high-tech conflict, where drones play a pivotal role in the day-to-day fighting, and neither side seems willing to give an inch. The Ukrainian government has urged its Western allies to expedite the delivery of counter-drone systems, which could help neutralize some of the threats posed by Russia's new aerial assets. However, the process of building and deploying such systems is complex, and Ukraine may have to rely on its own innovation to defend against these increasingly sophisticated attacks. Beyond the immediate concerns in Ukraine, Russia's drone expansion in Africa has the potential to create long-term instability on the continent. By arming governments and rebel factions alike, Moscow risks fueling conflicts that could spiral out of control. African leaders have expressed concern that Russia's actions could reignite old rivalries or exacerbate existing tensions, further destabilizing fragile regions. Global reactions to Russia's drone proliferation have been mixed. Some African leaders, eager to secure Russian support in their domestic conflicts, have welcomed the shipments, while others have voiced their opposition, wary of becoming entangled in a proxy war. International organizations like the United Nations have called for increased diplomatic efforts to limit the spread of military drones in Africa and ensure that they are not used to perpetuate human rights abuses. As Russia continues to expand its drone operations both in Ukraine and abroad, the world is left grappling with the far-reaching consequences of this new military frontier. From the plains of Eastern Europe to the deserts of Africa, drones have become the latest symbol of Moscow's ambition and its willingness to engage in unconventional tactics to achieve its geopolitical goals. Global Gridlock will continue to monitor this situation closely, providing the latest updates and in-depth analysis on Russia's drone warfare and its implications for global security.